Hey everyone, welcome back. Hey, today I wanted to talk about some basics of slide playing. Slide playing has been around for a long time. There's the very famous slide players like Derek Trucks or Dwayne Allman, Sonny Landreth, Joe Bonamassa, others who are really amazing. Um, but I just wanted to talk through some basics of slide. Slide makes its way into all kinds of different styles. It's not just in the blues styles. Um, but the basics are all the same for it. I typically use a chrome slide. I like, for some reason, I feel like I get more sustain out of it. Although I hear, the better slide players often use this style slide. It's a glass style slide, like an old pill bottle type. Um, Most guys that I see that are really good slide players are playing it on their third finger, and they don't have it all the way down on their third finger. They're like this. So if you see Derek Trucks, that's the way he's doing it. I like it on my fourth finger, and the reason I like it on my fourth finger is I feel more comfortable playing with my other fingers, my first three fingers, rather than having to like split to my fourth finger and just play with these two fingers and stretch. That's personal preference, so you see guys doing it both ways. Um, but let me teach you a couple of the like basic things that are important on slide. When you first start off on slide, probably the most important thing, if you don't press too hard because you don't want to hear the frets going, but you want to just lightly touch that slide and make sure that goes all the way up and down. A lot of times I'll drag my fingers behind it. It sort of helps to set my hand, so I can sort of feel where that is. It also makes it, if you're acoustic, playing on an acoustic guitar, I don't know if you can hear this, but you get a lot of like double string sound, whereas if you drag behind it, you don't get that. Not as important on an electric. All right, the second thing that's really important is you want to play ever slightly behind the fret, not right on top of the fret, and you probably need to move your slide back and forth a little bit. So there's almost directly above the fret. But I have a tendency to play ever so slightly behind it, and then I wiggle it a little bit. For some reason, being slightly under and wiggling up into pitch sounds better to me than if I'm slightly over. You hear that? So I just don't like that sound. Um, so let me show you a couple other things. A lot of slide players also use their fingers rather than using a pick. I go both ways, so I use picks sometimes. I use fingers, and I'm not a slide player like Derek Trucks or something like that. I can use it functionally and get by on it. And it's good to be able to know those functional things, even if you're not like a master of slide. That's okay. And I'll use it a lot in like worship music and church music for like chordal things that I'll show you in a little bit. But we're going to start off with single notes. I'm going to show you a simple exercise. One of the most important things to know, just like in all soloing, is your pentatonic scale. So let's say I'm in the key of E, and let's take my major pentatonic here. To be able to play those notes, and you heard I even like fretted out on some of them, they didn't quite work. So slide can be tricky that way. Most of the time when I'm using slide, I'm on my top four strings only, so I'm not doing a lot of like low string type of stuff, although again, the good guys, you'll hear them do that. All right, so again, for you, just doing the exercise of doing the straight pentatonic. Now, one thing that you notice, I am muting my notes in between when I do the slide, so I don't want it to be like a drunken sailor, it sounds like Warner Brothers type of stuff. So when I play the note, when I move, I mute with my right hand, if you notice. Now sometimes I'll want to do, and I'll let that ring, but if I'm doing far stuff, you hear me muting in between every note, and that's, I think, an important thing to learn how to do. So when you do this exercise, mute, mute, mute. this will be a little bit like octaves. You got to move your hand a lot because you can't use your fingers to articulate any of this stuff. All right, so that's great. And then knowing like your hexatonic is important. Now I'm going to show you just a real simple line, and then I'm going to show you a better exercise to actually make it a little bit more musical. But if I'm playing like some sort of blues, okay, so what I did there is I'm going from the note A up to B, and then I'm doing E, B, E. So slide with no mute down to the D, so E down to D, sorry, E down to D, and then up to the mute, up to the B. Now when I go from the D to the B, I need to be able to mute between those. You don't want to do and then I'm going to take my G note and sort of aim up to that G sharp, and then I'm going to mute and go back to the E. So again, E, D, B, E. And that can be the first part of the exercise. Just practice that. You can hear it almost sounds like Allman Brothers E right off the bat. And then if I do... So that's G up to G sharp. Not even quite. I get right back to that E note. And if you notice, I'm putting like some I'm never leaving. It always has some vibrato on it. And that's one of the reasons is it's really hard to be totally accurate all the time. But if you're close and you put that vibrato on, it really sounds good. Okay, so here's the line. And then I can take that same thing up an octave. So D, E, D, B. Again, G up to almost G sharp, and then to that E note again. I also like just going those two notes as a chord. You can do that on any of the major chords then, of course. All right, so let's go into a second exercise now. This one will be a little bit more difficult, but I think you'll find it fun. We're just going to take Amazing Grace. But we're going to do it with slide. I'm going to slide up from B to E. So slide down, mute to the E. So G, F sharp, E, G sharp, F sharp, or it's probably better on the G string, F sharp to E, C sharp down to B. Same thing again then. Up to B, and I'm going to slide my way up to that. That's a really good exercise. It'll make you a little bit more accurate. You can take any of the songs you know and try to just, use the slide to play the melody. If you can play the melody, you'll start to sound like a real slide player pretty quickly. One other thing that I do a lot of times in worship music, if I have a little bit more distortion and delay on and stuff, let me get my delay on here. A lot of times I'll do chords. So let's say I'm going from E up to A and then up to B. I might do like E chords. I'm doing B, E, G sharp. Then up to A, and I'm going to do E, A, C sharp. And then up to my B, F sharp, B, and D sharp. hopefully that'll help you to get some like slide basics, just to get it off the ground a little bit if you haven't fooled around with slide. Obviously, you can spend a lifetime on this, but hopefully that'll get you like the basics of what you need to be able to get up and running on slide. So God bless until next time.